Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. These are the things that will be needed in this video. I hope you guys are familiar with all of them. If not, hit me up in the comment section. So now I am parting my client's hair down the middle just for control. I always like to part my client's hair in two as opposed to one. So that's what I'm doing right there. I'm putting my finger right there so I can make sure that the hair that is being left out is sufficient to cover the weft that I'm about to install. So in this video I will be showing you guys 3 different ways that I install tracks braid free in the salon. These are my 3 favorite method. I don't do braids a lot. I don't like cornrow the hair and then sew the weft hair onto it. I used to do that a lot, but you know, things and time changes. So this is more efficient, it lasts longer, it's less painful, and it's cooler, and it's also, to me, it can be neater. So that's me checking to see if I left out enough hair to cover the weft when I install it. I'm parting out the hairline to keep that away. So now I'm picking up a little tiny piece of hair, and then I'm adding the weft hair beneath that hair, holding it, and I'm pinning it right now to make sure it stays in place. So what I'm going to do is to take some of the hair from the roots on top of the weft, and also I will be taking some of the hair that is on the weft, and then a tiny piece, then a couple strands of your client's real hair. And then I'm just gripping that to make sure that it is steady in place. So I'm putting the loop over it with the beads on it, and then I'm pulling that through, and then I have my pliers to clamp it. You guys let me know what you call it. I say pliers. And I'm just clamping it, making sure that it is loosely clamped. While I put on the beads, I use my index finger to guide it so it doesn't slide down, and then I make sure it is loose and off the client's scalp, and then I go in with my pliers and clamp the bead. Now you don't have to worry about these beads because they are silicone base. The silicone is in the middle of it, in the base of it, where the hair would be rubbing against. So the silicone is very soft, so it will not create any form of friction on your client's hair. And you know, hair care is the most important thing. So everything you do, you want to make sure that it is not going to break your client's hair, or it's not going to damage your client's hair at all. And these beads have proven to be safe because I have been using them for a while now. Excuse me. So I am just going through doing the same thing. You guys, I did not speed up this video because I wanted you guys to get the full 100. So I'm going through doing the same thing, making sure that the beads are nice and flat. So I'm taking a small amount of the client's hair, and I'm taking a tiny tad of the weft hair and a small amount of hair at the bottom, and then I'm pushing that through the loop. I'm always securing that hair with the clip just to make sure that I'm on the right track and my hair is not sliding down every minute, because that can be annoying and that also take up time, and you want to move efficient in the salon. You want to be moving as fast as you can. And one thing, you guys, whenever you're adding these beads, if it doesn't feel right, it's something is not right. So if you feel like you've put one in and it's like it's kind of crooked, or it's not as flat, take it out and fix it. Don't be like, oh, it can stay. Sometimes those are the things that will break our styles or installs. It's okay to be a perfectionist. So I'm just going through. I'm also making sure that the beads are almost the same distance apart. And you guys, for this method, I don't recommend you double the weft. Always install them single if you want to do this method. Also, this method is my favorite method when it comes to a quick style. Okay, take for instance, you have a client who have a wedding, and the wedding is just for the day or 2 or 3 days event that they would want the hairstyle to last, and you want to put in some tracks just for that event. This is the right one to do. This is perfect because it's quicker, and I wouldn't recommend a client to leave this in for more than 2 weeks. So this one is a good choice if you are just looking for kind of like a quick fix for somebody. Like maybe you have a client who, as I said, have an event and their hair is looking a little, maybe thinner, and then you say, okay, give me some volume, give me some bounce, give me some curls, give me big hair. But the client don't really have, her natural hair isn't big. So then you just throw a couple of rows of these in and they're good to go. This method is actually the least time consuming. The other two are longer, takes a while longer to install. And you guys, I'm using these blonde beads. They have all different color. They have black, they have brown, they have a lot of different colors on Amazon. So I am using these blonde one because I wanted you guys to see exactly where I'm placing them, and I was hoping that it would be clearer for you to see because of the contrast with the black hair and the blonde beads. So I am just removing this first one because for some reason it wasn't lying flat, and I'm assuming that it was too many hairs inside of the bead. And so I opened it, take out some, and then install it right back, and voila, it's nice and flat. So that is it, you guys. That's the finish. So as I said before, you'll be using the color beads that is closest to your client's hair, so it will not be showing at all. I only used those blonde beads because I thought it would have been clearer, which it is. So that's the final look. It's secure, it's not going anywhere. So that is method 1. And now for the second one, my least favorite, you guys. I have to admit, it is my least favorite, and I also use this method the least because it's just not my favorite. But I still wanted to show it to you guys. You never know. A lot of people I know like it. So what I'm doing is taking up a small amount of hair, just the same, and I putting the bead on, and I'm holding the hair horizontally and also applying the bead horizontally. And then as I apply the bead, I take half of that amount of hair that is within the bead, and then I add it to the next small section that I will then add the bead to. And I'm doing that right around. So I'm taking that hair, I'm parting it in two, and then I'm grabbing some more hair with inline, and then I'm putting that loop over it, sliding on that bead, using my finger to guide it so it doesn't fall down, and then I'm just clamping it with the pliers. And I'm doing that same very motion right around. You guys, it's really great for you to use your index finger to guide that bead because you don't want it sliding down off of the hair. Right, and you guys, when you're doing this on your client, you have to keep into consideration that you cannot pull the hair too tight. So you are always going to have to make sure that it is slack enough that it's not directly on the scalp, because you need some move into it. You need it to be movable. You need it to have movements, so it's not pulling onto the client's hair if they were to catch up their hair or anything like that. So I'm doing that right around. So I'm kind of making a line with the hair. So I have a reinforcement to then sew the weft hair onto. All right, when doing this method, you don't need to part a lot of hair. You just need enough. Don't part too little, but don't part too much. Once you see that you're pulling the hair through the beads and it is hard to come through, it's like you have to force it, you know that something is wrong. So then you have to take out some. Okay, so I'm just parting that, grabbing some more hair, and also just to clamp them together. So each time I go, I'm leaving out a half of the hair that is within the bead, and then taking that, grab a little more, and so on. And now this method can last a long time. You can have this in for 6 months, because with this method you can actually tighten it. You can shampoo your client hair, you can do everything you want to do, and then when it's kind of slack or it's grown out, you can just go in with your pliers and you can just bring the beads back up and you're good to go again for a while. But I always tell my clients to take it out after 3 months. Like, take out the install altogether and then you can put them back if you wish. So I'm almost at the other side and I'm doing the same very thing. And you can see how flat the beads are because it's not too much hair inside of the bead. And you don't have to worry about, oh, am I clamping it too hard? Wonder if the bead can break the hair. As I said before, it has silicone in the middle, so it's very soft, so it will not cause any friction with the hair. And if you thought of that it might break the hair, then good job, because as I said, every style you attempt to do, you should be thinking about, can this damage the hair? Can this break the hair? Because our number one priority is to maintain healthy hair. So now I've already set my base. That is my base. And I'm now going to sew the weft onto my base that I've just done. So I like to measure before to see if the weft is long enough, because you don't want it to be short, and then you're going to have to put on another piece onto it. You kind of want to stay away from that because it can cause bumps, and it can just take up too much of your time. So if you have the amount of hair, the length, just measure it and making sure that it will have just one flowing piece of a weft going around. So now every time I start, I make sure to put the needle through the weft, not just inside of it. I put it through the thick part of the weft, the starting and the finish, and then while I go along, I put it through the hair and not really through the weft. So that's what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing, I'm not sewing too far apart. I'm making sure that I'm going in between the beads. I'm not trying to sew inside of the beads, because we've already have the hair as a lining, so we have that to grip to put the hair on. So that is, you could say that is like a braid. Like, say for instance you were to have a braid like we would normally do it, the traditional way. We would have a braid and we'll be sewing the weft onto the braid. So this is our braid. This is our reinforcement. It is our handle. It is our foundation. It is our braid. And why I use these over braids, simply because it can become flatter. It's less hassle because you don't have to braid the hair, and also you can tighten this. You can't tighten the braid. You'd have to just take it out altogether. So after 2 weeks or so, you'd have to just take it out. But these, you can actually tighten them and give your clients more time to wear their hair. Oops, my thread fell. I'm just picking up where I stopped. I'm sorry. The thread had finished, so I'm just picking up right back where I was. And I'm just going along, making sure that equal tension is on the thread. You don't want to put too much tension because you don't want the thread to be forcefully rubbing against your client's hair, but you want to put enough so that the weft is secure and not flopping all over the place. You want to make sure it is stiff and secure. Y'all, I wish I was actually using a colored thread so you guys could see more clearer as to how my stitches are, but I've been using one type of stitch throughout all of these 3 techniques. And you guys, if you would like to see me probably do like a video on stitching only, I would love to do that, because I was just thinking while I was creating this video, I was thinking, hey, you know, when I just started, I wish I had like a proper video of just stitching the weft onto the hair, because it took me a while before I could comfortable do it, because I just felt like it just wasn't my best. I felt like I was, mediocre somewhat, and it took me a while. I literally volunteer to a salon in order to learn how to do proper stitching, how to install hair properly, and yeah. So let me know if you guys want me to make a video about how to stitch the hair as well, what tension to use, how to pull your needle, how to thread your needle, how to knot, how to finish off the weft, how all of that, so your weft doesn't come unravel. So that is it for this method. And now we are on to number 3, final one. So I'm doing this very same thing. I'm just taking a piece of the hair, and I am using my finger to guide the bead, and I am making sure that there is no hair that is being pulled, and I'm making sure that when I install that bead, it is flexible. I can move it up and down. Don't want to be pulling on the client's hair too tight. So I'm doing this one, as you can see, differently. I am just grabbing the hair within a straight line and just putting the beads over it and just clamp it. I'm not doing anything with the end of the hair. I am just grabbing some hair, putting the beads on, tighten the beads, and just drop that section. right after you put the bead, you're supposed to be able to move it up and down without the client being like ouch or ooh. Yes, the client should be fine. It should not be pulling. So you see, I'm being very consistent with my parting, consistent with the amount of hair that I'm taking up per bead, consistent with the distance between, consistent throughout. You know, you guys, you can't be exact. So, you know, just try to do as best as you can. And if you've never seen or done any of these techniques, give it a try because it is, your client will love you for it. In a nutshell, it is easier, it can be time consuming, but it's worth it because, as I said, you can tighten it. You don't have to just take it out whenever it starts to grow out. You can literally tighten it. So I'm just doing that right around the head or right around that section. Y'all don't mind my clients head right now. I have done couple color course with this mannequin, so I did some highlight on the back, and then I did the top. I done cutting with it. I've done some stuff with her. So now I'm adding the weft, and I am just, as I said, I always push the needle through the weft when I'm starting or ending a tract. What I'm doing now, I am making sure the starting is secure and that it's not flopping. And so I am going through the bead twice. I am going through it at both ends. So you'll find that if you had spaced the beads properly, you would find that your stitch would be very closely. It will be close together, because you'll be have, for each bead you will have to be doing 2 stitch. And y'all, I put that hairspray because sometimes you have a lot of flyaways and you don't want them to be caught in the thread or caught anywhere where you don't want it. So a little hairspray goes a long way because it just kind of tame them. So this method, it closes up the beads all together. You will not be able to see any of the beads. And also, this method is great if you want to double your weft. So you could actually be putting a weft underneath, and you could be putting a weft above like I'm doing right now. So whenever I know that I am going to want to double my wefts, I use this technique because I will be putting one below and one above, and that just give you like a seamless install. The same way how you see I'm doing this section is the identical way you would add the weft below. It's just the same. Because even personally in the salon, what I've done to make this quicker, I literally add the weft, both weft at the same time. So I clip one weft beneath the beads and leave that, and then I bring over the beads, and then I clip another weft over the bead, and then I keep them in place, and then while I sew, I am able to sew both wefts together at the same time, instead of going in and sewing one first and then another one on top. I would just do them at once, and that worked out for me all the time. but for the purpose of this video, I just wanted you guys to have an idea of the different way you can install tracks without braid, because I personally don't like braid in the hair. I think it's tight, and I'm not a fan of actually braiding the hair when I am doing tracks. If I'm doing a full sewing now, yes, I do, because it is necessary. So I'm just going through, almost finished. You guys like this video. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, turn on your post notification bell so you can see when I upload a video. And if you guys have any questions for me, please leave it in the comments. Any questions or concern, because I'm open to anything, y'all. So yes, that is that for that method, and I absolutely love it. This is my favorite one when it comes to a long install. Like, I want it to last long, and that's the beneath, right? And that is it. Very flexible. It can go up, it can go down, you can have a high bun if you wanna, anything.